this? Well, technically, ideally, in a utopian world, when we get involved in a case, we're 100% objective. Then we get records, say 3 bankers' boxes of the records, 11 p.m. the day before an evaluation. And we read certain information that, of course, gives us a bias. Of course, it gives us some fantasies. What is this person? Who is this person we're going to see the next day? Some of those fantasies are way off base. Some of them are spot on. But as we read information, we become less objective. That doesn't mean that we don't have support for our opinions. Then on the day of the evaluation, we open the door. Well, maybe we open the door and there is Snow White with the sprinkly dust and music and all that. And we say to ourselves, all my fantasies of who this person is going to be, way off. Or perhaps we open the door and it's the Grim Reaper with a voice like Darth Vader. And that also is going to tilt us, consciously and unconsciously. We have to acknowledge that, and we have to use that information. That is information. I remember in 1980, on a Friday night at the Institute of Psychiatry and Law at USC, Seymour Pollack gave me this article to read. Said, read it in the next hour, and let's go out for dinner at 6 o'clock, Friday night. Just as many of you perhaps have better things to do this Saturday afternoon, I had better things to do that Friday night. But that article, that dinner, has had a lasting impact upon me because there is no such thing as the impartial expert. That was the title of the book and actually the title of the article that I read. Now, as I'm implying, hopefully stating, bias is ubiquitous. There's no way around it. But it's not a bad thing. It's something that we can and we should use. So, get back to whether it's through psychoanalysis, whether it's through being introspective, psychologically minded, having experiences with friends, colleagues, we get to know more about ourselves so that when we get into the relational aspect of the evaluation, evaluator, evaluatee, that we're able to have a better understanding. Now, to talk about bias, we have to talk about confirmational bias. And basically, in a nutshell, confirmational bias is you find what you look for. But that's a little bit too simplistic. That's the Cliff Notes version, not the War and Peace version. Another way to look at confirmational bias is we interpret information, whether that information is verbalized by history or verbalized by affect, emotion, both, it's usually both. We have a certain preoccupation where we look for information to confirm our initial beliefs. That can be a serious error and lead to errors in terms of formulation. Now, another way to look at this is it's an active process by which you, the evaluator, look for particular situations, certain facts, certain impressions, certain confirmation. You recall certain information from earlier in the evaluation, from the records. You look for confirmation for the initial beliefs. Maybe those beliefs started the night before, reviewing the records. Maybe it started when you opened the waiting room door. Maybe it started at the initial part of the interview. Maybe it started as the interview went along. But these hypotheses can be dead wrong. And if you look for confirmation of a wrong hypothesis, there's no way out of it. You're going to have inaccurate opinions. So Francis Bacon, a Renaissance man, I believe in 1620, I can't read it from here, but the gist of this, and you can read it, but the gist is, look, we all look for affirmation in our beliefs. Negatives, we don't like. Now, there are many types of selective thinking. We're not talking about feeling, we're talking about thinking, cognitive processes. So we tend to look for confirmation of beliefs that we begin to have as the evaluation proceeds. And there's some combination, a dynamic one, with the records and the interview. As it goes on, perhaps we ignore information that could be very important. We might ignore the fact that this person who came into the evaluation room morbidly obese, and we have this notion, they're lazy like me, I haven't exercised recently, I've put on 30 pounds, but the truth is they have hypothyroidism. The truth is because their applicant treating psychiatrist is incompetent, inept, unethical, and can't get an insurance company authorization, has this person on megadoses of Zyprexa, which puts on weight. Or the man who presents as very depressed, so he can barely tell his story. The messenger is not the best person for the message, and we might think that person's a bad historian, that it's conscious and purposeful. Well, perhaps this man is depressed because 15 years ago in Ecuador, for example, he was a semi-professional soccer player. So his orthopedic injury has particular meaning for him.